Good morning and welcome to Frank's School. This is the 7th year, 109th day, first video. I'm going to try to be fast here because some of my videos aren't so long. Pig Larnin. It's a bit of a joke, I guess. Pig Larnin. Oh, first of all, the camera. Sorry about that. The camera was too high last time. I brought it down. I hope it's not too low. Now, it'd been a while and the cat's bumped the cameras up. This is a bit of a joke, and I usually wouldn't get into that. You know, Larnin. It's a dialectic joke, and I don't like dialectic jokes in general because they're virtually always condescending. Somebody thinks that somebody speaks some other dialect is lesser somehow. So it's a bit of a dialectic joke, but I couldn't resist because here in Frank's School, I maintain that learning and teaching are the same event. In any given situation, you may be teaching, you may be learning, probably you're doing both. In German, I think that I suspected, ever since I learned German, I suspected that, and this had gotten my attention maybe as a 7th or 8th grader when, you know, what did they in the grammar books they used to give you do's and don'ts, and here's something that you shouldn't say. You shouldn't say I'm gonna learn you to do that. Using learning for teaching. You know, and at the time I was in New Hampshire, capital city, and who the heck would say that anyway? But anyway, when I learned German, I learned that lehren and lernen, this is to teach and that is to learn in German, and they're both so close. I understood how they could end up getting blended in English, and I actually approve of it because I maintain it's the same. Really, it's the same process. So I'm very tempted to learn it more. Frank's School, good for Larnin. The only trouble with that's my spelling system. School, I would spell like that. But the rest of it, I would spell in standard English. I spell it in Artok writing, just the same as in standard English. Good for Larnin. Well, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that the pigs have been larning me. Or I've been larning from the pigs. And it's more of that than me larning the pigs. Me teaching the pigs. This is mostly what I've been learning. I've got to stop using that, I suppose, but I will stop. All right, language, pig language, new to me. You know, I hadn't been around pigs that much very soon, and some of their language is vocal. A lot of it is body, and there's a lot to learn. I mean, those sounds that pigs make. The first I really noticed was that the low. I don't want to call it oink oink because it's not really oink oink, but the low in it sounds so threatening in a way to humans. It's not. It's actually friendly. But they make all these sounds which I understand what's going on with them when they make the sounds. And their body language. They come when I call. That I learned early. You know, sweet. Well, they come. Of course, you can't lie to them. If you call them, you got to have some reason for having called them. Take them back or give them something. They startle, just like goats do. They really startle quick and then they'll all bolt. How to tame them? Well, they actually get naturally quite tame. You can rub their backs, but not the little ones. It takes a while with the little ones. You've got to get them so they don't just, I mean, they think something's grabbing them, the little ones, and they want to run. And when they get a little bit bigger, when you put your hands on their backs, they don't at first like it, but they'll stand for it. Well, they do my plowing, disking, and harrowing. That was one of the reasons I had them. I had seen what pigs can do, and you almost have to see it to believe it, what they can do. And I had said that they make gardening and farming without fossil fuels imaginable. Now, I had said that earlier about extreme mulching. I have found a way that you can garden and even farm without fossil fuels by using extreme mulching, which I've discussed elsewhere. But the pigs, I think, are going to be even better. And maybe while I'm down here, I could mention this, that in Portuguese, there's a word montado. Well, in Spanish, too, I think both, where pigs and forestry go together. It's something I want to study more. I'm aware that there's a name for that kind of agroforestry, and I need to study it more, but I have not. All right, yes, they will do plowing, they will do disking, they will do harrowing. And I threw these words in because I think it's curious that furrow, I guess is what fur is what a plow makes. Farrow is when the sow has its babies. That's farrowing. A barrow is a castrated male. You know, what's going on with all these rows and pigs? I don't know how to know. Someday I'll maybe look into that. Yes, I am very satisfied with that, with the work that they do. Now, at first they make it look as if it's plowed, which people don't, lawns and stuff in pasture, they don't like to see that. But I think it's going to be fine. I haven't yet figured out the seeding part, but I think it's called overseeding. Overseeding. You put more seeds than normally you would like if you were going to drill seeds in, and their feet, if the weather conditions are right, their feet will trample it in. We'll see how that goes. You can feed them whole grains. You do not have to feed them ground feed. That was something that I learned from the pigs, you know, people, it'll say on the ground feed bag, use as your only ration. Or saying, well, of course they want to sell their ground feed. And also the ground feed, well, that manages to get fossil fuels into their feed in the electric motors or diesel motors that do the grinding. They can eat hay. As a matter of fact, they really kind of need hay for their diet. And they're on pasture. These are free-ranging pigs that I have. I wouldn't have them now any other way than that. And the pasture was frozen at the beginning, and you know, it hasn't actually even started to come on with the grass, but as the grass comes on, they're going to eat that too. So the Larnin goes on. And they don't eat willows, which I'm not surprised. Most animals won't. Has aspirin in it, actually, willow bark. You know. Actually, they don't stink. That's something else. Pigs do not stink if they're not confined. They don't stink really at all. And you need to watch their manure. If their manure is real runny and looks like grease and like you usually think of pig shit, well then your diet's wrong is what's wrong, and their conditions are wrong. Watering, they don't have to have water on demand. One of these automatic waterers. They don't need that. They can go get water a couple times a day. And if they're free-ranging, they'll drink whenever they want to. You know, some of this stuff is kind of obvious, but I want to say it anyway. The milk teeth, trimming off the ends of their milk teeth, I'm not sure if they're free-ranging, if they're not confined, if that really is necessary. There's arguments that, oh, you've got to do that for the comfort of the sow because of the nursing, because of them fighting. I don't know. And giving them an iron supplement shot, I'm also not at all sure if they're free-ranging. I think they get that out of the dirt. And that's a traumatic event for the piglets to have that done. Decentralized feeding. I've talked about that elsewhere. You don't want to feed them in a trough. They'll fight. And it's nasty. They'll fight to get it. You know, you always think about it. There's an expression, yeah, we waited for you for dinner like one pig waits on another. You know, at the trough, a joke about how they'll go in there and just, they'll pig it down. No, with whole grains, you scatter it. You just scatter it around, and then they'll go and they'll have to work for their feed a little bit, but that's good for them. And they don't fight. You know, I virtually never hear pigs fighting. And a concrete floor, I'm not real fond of concrete, but there's a use for that because you can scatter it around on the concrete floor. You can sweep it up. Fencing, pigs are very easy to fence with electric fence. Other than electric fence, it's actually very hard to fence them with pallet fences. It can be done, but it's easy. Everyone says pigs, oh yeah, they're smart. And then, oh boy, they really are. But somebody else was saying, yeah, they're smart and strong. Yes, that's also true. They're unbelievably strong at lifting things with their heads. So yes, pigs are smart, of course, but they are also very strong. And finally, people, what they've learned me about people. I had a neighbor come over here and really gave me an earful about how I can't do what I'm doing. You can't raise pigs like that. You have to feed them. You have to feed them pig feed and have it before them all the time. They're not getting big enough, strong enough, healthy enough, growing fast enough. And I said, bullshit. He didn't like hearing that because he's an older man and people don't usually say bullshit to him. And we're standing there among all these really healthy little pigs and the sows, and he's telling me how you can't do this. Well, anyway, what it taught me about people is how I knew, but people are so resistant to something that is new that they don't understand, and if it threatens their older ways. All right, maybe too fast, I don't know. Bye for now.